turn off your video and mute yourselves until it's your time to give your pitch. And again, thank you so much for your help. And Alan, thanks so much for joining. Really quick, if you can change your name to say judge and then your name before we get started. We're having all the judges quickly do that so that participants know who the judges are. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and launch it. Again, thank you all for joining and for your help. All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Immersive Conservation Mural Pitch Competition. My name is Erica Garut, and I am the program manager for the Institute for Integrative Conservation at William & Mary. And I'm joined here virtually this afternoon by several other members of the IIC team, including our Executive Director, Robert Rose, our Faculty Director, John Swaddle, our Administrative Coordinator, Kathy Francillo, our Development Director, Craig Anzalone, and our Communications and Marketing Assistant, Jasmine Dix, and who you'll be hearing from throughout the event today. Today's event focuses on the intersection of art, technology, and conservation. And we have 4 undergraduate student teams who will pitch a concept for a mural and a corresponding augmented reality experience designed to engage the Williamsburg community in meaningful conservation action. These teams will be pitching their ideas to an interdisciplinary team of judges. It includes artists, computer programmers, graphic designers, William & Mary faculty, local business leaders, and conservation professionals who will select the winning concept. The winning team will work with a team of mentors to submit a proposal to the Williamsburg Public Art Council to implement the mural and augmented reality experience in Williamsburg in the fall. Today's event is being recorded, and all attendees' mics and videos will be off throughout the duration of the event. We do invite attendees to provide constructive feedback to the student teams that the judges will use in their consideration and their selection of the winning team. So if you'd like to give the team's feedback, please use the chat function at the bottom of your screen. Before we begin, I would like to thank all the partners who have supported this project and who will serve as mentors for the team in the design and creation of the mural and augmented reality experience, including Augmented Island Studios, mural artist Eric Scottness, Midtown Row, Muscarelli Museum of Art, William & Mary Sustainability, and the William & Mary Art and Art History Department. And I'd also especially like to thank the student teams for putting together such an innovative pitch. And I would like to thank you all for joining us this afternoon for this exciting event. Today's event is part of a spring conservation speaker series put on by several William & Mary collaborators. And we'd like to invite you to several upcoming events. Next Tuesday, as part of One Tribe, One Day, a team of William & Mary students will be participating in a panel discussion about their proposal to engage William & Mary students in conservation and environmental justice at James Monroe's Highland. Part of the undergraduate research month, students in the IIC's conservation research program will be presenting their proposals for integrative research that they will complete this summer alongside conservation partners and faculty mentors. They'll be presenting these proposals on April 14th and 16th. And on the 16th, the student will be presenting their proposals as part of the Geospatial Research Symposium. On April 20th and 21st, William & Mary is working with the Office of Sustainability and several other William & Mary departments and teams to host a Sustainability Symposium that will focus on interconnectedness and will feature 2 keynote speakers, including Celine Cousteau and Winona LaDuke. So we hope you can join us. I'm now going to hand it over to Tyler Stanfield, who's the Community Fellow at the Alan B. Miller Entrepreneurship Center, who's going to talk about an event next week that complements today's competition.
Hi, thank you, Erica. So next week at the Entrepreneurship Center, we are going to have a rocket pitch. And if you don't know anything about the Entrepreneurship Center, let me give you a brief breakdown. One, we mess up that word all the time still. Doesn't matter how many times you say it, just never gets easier. But we're all about programming, events, and community. And we're always here to support students on whatever their journey might be, whether they're looking to start up their own venture or whether they're just looking for a place to connect with like-minded students that just want to explore entrepreneurship a little bit. At the end of the day, it's about problem solving and equipping you with that mindset in order to do so. Part of that is our Rocket Pitch event, which is every Friday at 2 p.m. What's special about next week is that we're partnering with you guys here today to take the winner of this week and take their idea and make that our theme for next week. So we're just really excited to invite you all to attend that, whether as attendees or as pitchers, and you're free to pitch in groups or you're free to come watch in groups. It's going to be a good time, and we're really hoping that you are able to see these ideas and see how they can be further applied and brought to life. And also you get another chance to win $100. I mean, who doesn't like that? And the winners of the next week will be invited to sort of work alongside what you guys have going on here and see to what capacity that they could be of use to your teams and to this wonderful idea of bringing murals. So thank you all so much. And I really hope to see you there. There will be some links in the follow-up email that you get after this event, and we're looking forward to it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tyler. So humans are inextricably linked to the diversity of the environment. And as we face rapidly changing climate, loss of species, and large-scale environmental change, there's an urgent need to engage all communities in the conservation of biodiversity and its benefits to human well-being. The IIC was developed in 2020 with the goal of cultivating a diverse community of leaders who bring diverse skill sets, perspectives, and knowledge systems needed to develop integrative solutions to global conservation challenges. We aim to build bridges across disciplines, sectors, and among people to inspire and engage all communities in conservation action. Art has the unique ability to foster connections to nature, to bring people together, and to inspire conservation action. Augmented reality and virtual reality, which provides immersive experience by enhancing real-world objects, can complement the power of art to inspire and engage people in conservation. Integrating art, technology, and conservation, therefore, has the potential to connect people to nature in new ways and inspire meaningful conservation action. Augmented Island Studios, an augmented reality and virtual reality studio started by William & Mary alum Enrique Sanchez Rivera, and mural artist Eric Scottness have been developing murals and augmented reality experiences that have demonstrated the power of art and technology in advancing solutions to environmental and social issues. So this competition really is inspired by their work. And Enrique saw an opportunity to engage William & Mary students in utilizing art and technology to inspire the Williamsburg community. To give you an example of the inspirational power of their work, I'm going to show you a really quick video that highlights an 11-story augmented reality mural that Augmented Island Studios and Eric Scottness developed in Columbus, Ohio. To highlight a new public art initiative in Williamsburg. So I'd like to thank Councilwoman Barbara Ramsey for joining us today. She's going to speak briefly about a proposed public art program and how this project fits into that. Councilwoman Ramsey, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Erica. And as she said, I'm Barbara Ramsey, a member of Williamsburg City Council. And since murals are one component of our recently passed resolution on public art, I just wanted to give you all a little bit of an overview of the program. So you can go to the next slide, please.
Next one?
Yes. There should be one in between.
Got this one.
Yes,
Great.
that's it. So the Public Art Council will be the gatekeeper of our public art program. And as you can see, it's going to be comprised of 9 members. I will be one of the city council representatives, and then we'll be looking for 2 community-wide appointees, as well as members from various boards. And you can see on the right-hand side of the slide how the funding for our public art program is going to be provided. Next slide. So we have some various guidelines and criteria. Most of them, I think, make common sense. And you'll notice that right now, murals will only be allowed in Midtown Row area. So next slide. So the first purpose of the Public Art Council will be to do data collection. And we'll use some other cities for some guidelines. Alexandria, Stanton has a pretty good program. And as you can see, the purposes for public art locations and desired themes. Next slide. So our process is very similar to something that was developed for our Tourism Development Fund grant program, and applications will be submitted to the same person, and that tourism development specialist works in the economic development department. And so we'll have, the steps there, and the courtesy review by the ARB. ARB is our Architectural Review Board, and to be honest, they're primarily sensitive to districts really close to Colonial Williamsburg. All right, the next slide. So we've already created the ordinance and passed the resolution. This was done at our February City Council meeting. We're in the process of creating and standing up the Public Art Council. We are currently looking for applications, and at the end of my slide deck, you'll have a link if anyone wants to apply to that. You'll see the various steps, and because there is such an interest in murals in Midtown Row, we may sort of accelerate the mural discussion before we get through all of the other steps. We're hoping to have our first meeting of the PAC in May. Next slide. So that was the brief presentation that the City of Williamsburg had put together. And you'll see there's contact information for Joanna, who is the Tourism Development Specialist, a link if you're interested in applying to be on the Public Art Council. Terms will be for 2 years. And then if anyone would like to reach out to me for questions or comments, follow up, please do so. This is something that's of great interest for me, as you can see from the next slide. So I have always traveled a lot and take pictures where I go, and you'll see a couple examples of things from Greenville, South Carolina, sculptures that are really gathering places for people, whether it be with benches, a fountain. And I wanted to highlight the bottom pop-up Shakespeare production, partially because the City of Williamsburg has recently purchased a portable stage, and it will be available for rent to any and all organizations in the community. So I know William and Mary, different ones have looked into that, but please keep it in mind for some of your programs going forth in the future. Next slide. So on the left are a couple pictures from the Cross Creek Lineal Park, and this is a walking trail that Fayetteville has to highlight their natural resources, historical individuals, and buildings. And it's going to be a guideline as we work to develop an African-American heritage trail in the City of Williamsburg. And then on the right-hand side are a couple examples of interactive, engaging sculptures. The picture at the bottom is actually a water fountain. So it just helps to spur some creativity. Next slide, please. And then just a few examples of some murals. Elkton, Virginia's in the Shenandoah Valley, and highlight it because it was a window to their history. And obviously they utilized the windows in the building, Cape Hatteras and Gloucester Courthouse. And then on the Houston, that was on the trees and greenery on the side of a parking garage next to a hotel where I stayed. And so that's it in a very brief snapshot. Erica told me to be quick, so that's what I tried to be. And as I say, if there's any questions, comments, please follow up with me directly, or Erica has my information too. So thank you very much, and I look forward to watching the competitions.
Councilwoman Ramsey, thank you so much for joining us and for this background and for your support. We're hoping that this competition really can inspire people to start thinking about what would be possible here in Williamsburg.
I do too.
Great. It aligns with this, so thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so we'll get to the competition. So today we have 4 student teams that will give a 5-minute pitch for a mural and corresponding augmented reality experience that is designed to engage the Williamsburg community in meaningful conservation action. The winning team will receive a $300 prize for each teammate and an opportunity to work alongside Augmented Island Studios, mural artist Eric Scottness, and a team of interdisciplinary mentors, who I'll mention in a second, to propose and implement the mural and AR experience next fall. The runners-up will be invited to participate in the implementation next fall of the mural, and will also be invited to translate their concept today into a postcard for the IIC that we will send out to our conservation network to inspire broad conservation action. The students will be pitching their concepts to 5 judges who bring a wealth of relevant experience to this project, including Guillermo Alvarez, who's the Chief Technical Officer for Augmented Island Studios, Camille Carranza, the Chief Operations Officer for Augmented Island Studios, Alan C. Broderick, who's the Ralph H. Work Associate Professor of Art History at William & Mary, R.S. Holden, who's the VP of Acquisitions and Development for Broad Street Realty, that is working on the new Midtown Row development here in Williamsburg. And Nina Page Hadley is the Senior Director of Global Wildlife Conservation's Guardians Program. We're so thankful for the judges' time and support for this project. Thank you all. The judges will be using the following criteria to select a winning concept today. We're looking for a concept that raises awareness about the integrative aspects of conservation, highlighting both the ecological and the human dimensions of conservation. We're looking for a concept that inspires audiences to connect to nature in a new way, inspires audiences to engage in specific, feasible, and meaningful conservation actions. We're looking for concepts that are inclusive of all members of the Williamsburg community. And we're looking for creative concepts that integrate art and augmented reality in a new and meaningful way to inspire new ways of connecting with nature and new ways of connecting with people, and inspires action. As students give their pitches, we invite the audience to give teams constructive and positive feedback in the chat section of Zoom, and the judges will consider that in their deliberation. Next fall, the winning team will work with a team of mentors to translate their concept into a design, and will submit an application to the Public Art Council. The winning team and all students, like I said, will be invited to work with Eric Scottness and mentors from the Muscarelli Museum of Art and the William & Mary Art and Art History Department to paint the mural. And then the winning team will also get to work with Augmented Island Studios to develop the corresponding augmented reality experience, which Guillermo will talk a little bit more about later. So we're so thankful to have the support of so many partners and mentors. If you see here, we have a list of mentors who will be working with the student team to translate this concept into a meaningful mural and AR experience next fall. And again, I would like to thank all of our partners, including Augmented Island Studios, Eric Scottness, Midtown Row, Muscarelli Museum of Art, William & Mary Sustainability, and the Art and Art History Department for their support with this. So let's get started. We have 4 interdisciplinary student teams who are going to do a 5-minute pitch, and then we'll have anywhere from 2 to 4 minutes for questions from judges. Again, we invite the audience to provide constructive feedback in the chat. We have several mentors who are participating today, so please provide feedback in the chat as well. And then we'll have 10 minutes for judges to deliberate. They'll go to a separate Zoom meeting. And simultaneously, we'll have a demo from Guillermo, who will talk a little bit about augmented reality and the steps the students will take to develop their experience. And at the end of the competition, the judges will announce a winner. So we're going to start with the pitch from the pollinator protectors. And so I will invite the pollinator protectors to share their screen and begin when you are ready.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming today. So you've heard the spiel. We're the Pollinator Protectors. I'm Sarah Wicker. I'm in the class of 2023, and I'm dual majoring in studio art and data science. I'm really interested in where mathematics and art meet in the visualization and blending of science that we can do with art.
My name's Katie Lee. I'm class of 2022. I'm a history and environmental science double major, and I'm really passionate about conservation both in my personal life and as a future career path.
Hi everyone, my name is Sophia Geislinger. I'm also part of the class of 2022. I'm majoring in computer science and minoring in math, and so I have a background in programming and software development.
So we're going to move right on into just like the outline of what we're visualizing. We went through a lot of different preliminary sketches. This is what we kind of ended up on for our pitch. We all agreed that we wanted something very bold, we wanted bright, we want colorful, and a variety of these different things will come into play with our conservation topic. But all of these are native Virginia species, both the flora and the fauna. Specifically, we can see a variety of different species at the top. Either these are state insects or state birds that are being recognized, or they're all Virginia and threatened species. The flowers that we have listed are ones that are bright and colorful that we want to incorporate, but also believe that people will want to bring into their homes and into their communities.
Okay, we also want to make sure that we're recognizing that this is Native American land that we're living on. So we've been thinking about how to incorporate a few elements to represent the Native American legacy and how their effects on land cultivation continue to this day. And we have a few ideas, but we're being sure we want to be culturally appropriate about it. So we're planning to ask for a lot of help on how best to do that. We also want to make sure that the mural is accessible to everyone. So we plan to include tactile elements and have a narration of the mural available so that someone who might be visually impaired can also have an experience with the mural. And we want there to be bird noises and plant rustling sounds as part of our AR experience so that someone might be truly immersed in it.
So now I'll talk a little bit more about the augmented reality component. So we want to take advantage of both the front-facing and back-facing filters. For the front-facing filter, we want to have a crown of native wildflowers with surrounding bees and other pollinators. When users tap on the crown, they can change the flower type. And then we thought it would be important to include a website link with more information on how this particular flower impacts its local ecosystems and pollinators. For the back-facing camera, we want to incorporate 3D and 2D elements of the mural. So maybe the flying squirrel kind of swooping in and out. And then also we wanted to take advantage of like an I Spy type of game where users can locate features on the mural. And a big part of this back-facing filter is that plants would be depicted as they appear under UV light. And so people can match the UV light depiction of the plant to what's on the mural. So as you can see here, this is just kind of what some plants look like under UV light. And the reason why we're doing this is because a lot of pollinators like insects, bees, and birds see plants in the nature around them in this way. And so we thought this would be a really cool way to bring a new perspective and new point of view for humans when viewing the world around us.
And just elaborating off of that into more why we believe that this experience is valuable is that it again is not human centric, which is a very easy thing for us to do and to continue to believe as we are both productive and destructive in our environment. So switching it into this bird eye or bee eye view will bring a new appreciation, and to find beauty in the local area, because a lot of these plant species are probably really repetitive in a lot of Virginians' lives. We think also this experience will be very valuable, and another way that people are going to want to come and will seek out this mural to visit, and that using native plant species and using native animals that are specifically threatened and in danger will promote people to look into them, be curious about them, and go about providing more habitat for them.
So a little more about our conservation action and conversations with the community. We really want to educate people on the importance of native Virginia species, pollinators, and endangered species. And we want to help people recognize that humans are incredibly dependent on healthy ecosystems and pollinators for our food supply, our air quality, water quality, even our overall well-being. Human health and ecosystem health is very interwoven. And we hope people, by seeing the way pollinators see, can understand this in a new way. So we want to implement a scavenger hunt so that people could find the native species and pollinators that they see in the mural in their local areas. And whether that might be like a public park or their backyard or something. And I think that might help them recognize that nature is all around us, including in urban areas. And we've already reached out to the Williamsburg Botanical Garden and the Williamsburg community growers to see how best to engage the public and how to incorporate native species into our mural. And Pam from the community growers really emphasized that we should use social media to our best advantage to reach out to people, and how we should put this in local publications for our less tech savvy friends in Williamsburg. We are also planning to reach out to the Williamsburg Public Library, where we were thinking about having a collaboration where we could create a reading list for people of all ages, and they could learn more about all these species and ecosystems. And also they could help implement the scavenger hunt. We want to have an Instagram geotag so that anyone who comes to the mural, if they take a picture, they can tag it, and then their friends know how to find it. And we'll make sure to reach out to William Mary newspapers and Williamsburg newspapers and Williamsburg family websites, things like that, to detail the new art installation. And here we just have some books that we've put together that might be part of our library partnership, and some more sources about flowers and bees.
And that concludes our mural pitch, and we hope you enjoyed and are looking forward to hearing any questions you guys might have.
All right, thank you, pollinator protectors. I think we have time for one question from the judges. Guillermo and Camille, do you have a question?
I don't really have a question, but I have some comments on it. I would like to say that I really like the concept of having the how the insects see the flowers through the UV light. I really like that you have like two art pieces, two different art pieces. The mural, like how a human who will see it, and how you can see it through the eyes of an insect in the app. I also like that it is not human centric, and yet you are using the resources of the platform to have the front face camera to make a face filter that involves the human that is, well, that is me as the user seeing the mural. I really like that. But I think it might be a little too, the scope might be a little too high for that, because of the technical limitations of the platform in Instagram. But I really like all the concept that you have, and well, we can think about it, how to make it work, to optimize it for this platform especially. But thank you, really nice.
Thank you.
So I take that back. We do one more. Camille, do you have a question?
No, I don't have any question. It's mostly the same as Guillermo, so I'll pass. Thank you.
Okay. Alan, do you have a question?
I mean, I might just want them to elaborate a little more on the conservation action. What specific kinds of actions that would you imagine the project inspiring people to take?
So I think education would be our first priority. And then also with a partnership with like the Williamsburg Botanical Garden or the Williamsburg Community Growers, those are excellent places where people could go to donate their time or money. And in general, just thinking, like if someone wanted to take it home, they could even plant these species in their backyard or whatever resources they have.
All right, great job, pollinator protectors. Very inspired. Next up, we have the Planeteers. So Tara's going to share her screen.
Can everyone see all right? I will take that as yes. Right. Hello, we are the Planeteers, and we are incredibly excited to pitch our mural idea to you folks today. First, I think some introductions are in order.
Hi everyone, my name is Malvika.
Hi, I'm Minkyung.
Hi, I'm Tara.
Hi, I'm Johnny.
Hi, I'm Whitney.
So coastal restoration works to better shoreline protection, water quality, biodiversity. One way that it's being achieved is through oyster restoration, a really important effort because oyster habitats and populations are diminishing currently, caused by habitat destruction, disease, and overharvesting. This is a real problem. When there are excess nutrients in the water, it really affects the oysters and other species too, setting us in a negative feedback loop. The 2014 Chesapeake Bay Watershed Agreement calls for 10 bay tributaries to restore native oyster populations by the year 2025. And properly restored reefs can remove up to or about 7 times as much nitrogen each day compared to an unrestored or a sandy seafloor, which also can result in higher biodiversity. So with our mural, we really want to tell you that the world is your oyster. Be open to change. We want our audience to think about their environmental legacy, knowing that our choices today will impact the world that we live in tomorrow.
Our mural would depict a colorful cosmic humanoid figure opening a giant oyster shell to reveal endangered species and other creatures whose home is the Virginia coastline. The background pattern will show waves and lush greenery to depict highlights of the local landscape. The opening of the oyster shell symbolizes the possibilities of positive human impact and the potential to restore biodiversity. The oyster itself creates a strong connection with the local ecosystem and food scene. In order to make the mural more accessible to people with visual impairments and interactive for all visitors, we would like to create textured areas using finely crushed oyster shells, as well as adding moss to create a living wall.
For the AR filter, we have 2 main ideas. One is an eating game inspired from Spark AR that will show the impact of your eating habit on the environment. Choosing sustainable foods will make the ocean get cleaner and oyster reef growing, while choosing foods that damage the environment will show the ocean get dirtier and oyster reef dying on their screen. These are some examples of sustainable food or labels that will clean the ocean in the game, and there will be sounds and vibration for a choice the user make. Also, these labels are not greenwashing labels, and they actually indicate that the food was harvested sustainably. Another AR is interactive with the mural. With the AR, people will be able to open the world of nature in their own oyster shell, just like the person in the mural. In the AR, there will be sounds of nature to give more immersive experience, and tapping the Pearl of Wisdom will show a quote on conservation, along with a link that directs visitors to sign a pledge on protecting the oysters and environments by eating locally. Lastly, for the visitors who sign the petitions, the AR filter will show endangered species returning to nature in the oyster shell.
We have several partners in mind already, as you can see. These partners are from many different sectors: conservation, economy, and education. We would like to partner with the Virginia Institute of Marine Science to give students and staff opportunities to conduct research on oyster reefs around Virginia. From the information they collect, we can then coordinate with the Nature Conservancy to get volunteers from local communities involved in restoration efforts. The communities we get in touch will then reach out to the Williamsburg farmers markets, who will then reach out to nearby farmers and local restaurants to inform people to eat and support our local conservation campaign. The campaign will then be advertised throughout Williamsburg and the surrounding areas. As they say, and then the campaign will be, once the campaign is advertised all throughout Virginia, that will draw in locals and tourists to the city, to the mural. And as I say, teamwork makes the dream work. So it takes both the community, both the economy, and education to get the word out to help our oyster restoration efforts and also boost local economy.
So as you can see, this issue has so many facets to it. And so we also wanted to include a link tree or a QR code that has access to all of these different resources for education and for signing pledges, like Mungyeon mentioned with the AR. But so our whole purpose with this mural is to inspire people to eat more locally and more sustainably. Directly harvesting oysters from local reefs will not only cut down on CO2 emissions from transportation, but will also support local Williamsburg fishers and the local economy. Additionally, as Johnny mentioned, so much nitrogen comes from livestock and from eating some red meat with fertilizer, overdoing the fertilizer. So oysters actually filter that out. So in order to eat more sustainably, support our oyster reefs, we ask people to eat local, eat fresh, cut some red meat out of your diet. The health of the oysters is the health of our neighbors. And when we treat the oysters right by eating sustainably and avoiding excess waste, nature will thank us.
Thank you so much for listening to our presentation. We'd be happy to take any questions you have right now.
All right, good job, Planeteers. So we have time, I think, for 2 questions. Start with you, Aris, if you have any questions.
Yes, thank you, Erica. Fantastic job to both groups so far. My quick question would just be, did the medium at all impact your development of the design?
I'm sorry, can you elaborate a little bit more on that question? The medium of our mural, as in like the more interactive elements of it, the oyster and the moss growing on the wall?
The medium meaning like the wall itself being like a brick material and the location within the community.
We're not 100% sure where the mural was going to be. So we wanted to leave that more versatile. We know that it's going to be on brick in order for it to be more environmentally friendly and, having these aspects of it that show people that it can actually be very easy to incorporate these environmentally friendly and conservationist actions into your everyday.
Awesome, thank you.
And Nina, do you have any questions?
Yeah, this is fantastic. I'm a big fan of bivalves personally, having studied marine science in my early days. My question is if the students had considered engaging the local oystermen or oystermen associations.
Yeah, we had intended to engage a lot of different oyster restoration projects and marine science groups to include potentially encouraging people to volunteer to help with oyster restoration.
Great question. And Camille, you said you had a quick comment for the Planeteers.
Yeah, thank you, Erica. First of all, it is an amazing proposal. Thanks for showing in. Well, my principal comment is that maybe you should focus in the AR content to treat it like it is another layer that is above the reality, because in the first proposal that you show about the augmented reality content, the kind of trash that is floating around and you want to gamify it, it's a nice idea, but still it doesn't connect really well with the concept of the mural itself, because you are seeing the mural, but then the trash comes out and it's not visible there, it just appears from nowhere. So I think that it's a better approach to go with the second idea, with the second proposal, that you manage to create like a window that is like a portal that you see through the oyster, and you can have a little bit of interaction there, as we put in on your comments from the last pitch, that you can take the user as an interactive point. So whenever he comes closer to the oyster, something happens, and whenever he comes farther from it, another thing happens, you know? It's more about exploiting the possibilities to play with the mural and also with the technology to improve your concept, the whole concept of the art installation. But thank you so much.
Can I just give a feedback to
Sure.
that comment? So for the first AR, we were actually intentioning to do the front view camera for that one. So not everyone can come to the mural itself because there's going to be transportation issues, but we still want them to be accessible to our message that we want to give out. So for that one, we were kind of thinking of those eating games that you showed us for the information sessions. Do you remember that? The food's like floating around.
The topic.
So like that, people like have to choose each sustainable foods to make the ocean get cleaner. That was our initial idea, if you didn't get it.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, I mean, it's fine with the concept, but still, I think that it kind of, it's like a little bit disruptive with the whole concept of the mural by itself and the painting, you know? But I mean, it's fine. Use it for the front camera, but you need to remind the limitation of the platform. I think that if you put it in that way, it will be just either the mural with the back camera or the face filter with the front one.
Okay, thank you.
See.
One quick comment from me is that for you and every group is that Instagram doesn't like links that take you out of the app. So you shouldn't add any kind of link or anything that takes you to another place, another web page or something like that inside of the filter or the AR. Yeah, you shouldn't put that because Instagram is not going to accept it. So that part has to be taken out from any participant. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your feedback. Totally understand that having the link tree or the link outside of the Instagram filter would be difficult. Along with that, we were also talking about maybe having a QR code, having it painted directly onto the mural. So then even people who are not utilizing the AR, they can scan the QR code and then they can see, just like anyone else, have access to all those different resources that we would provide for them.
Awesome. Fantastic job, Planeteers. All right, next team, we have Bat to the Future. Anna will be sharing her screen.
All right, let us see. Can everyone see that?
Yep.
Fantastic. All right, let's begin.
Okay. Hi, we are Bat to the Future. We are a team of 2. My name is Sophie Cassidy.
And my name is Anna Werschbale.
I am a sophomore and studio art major. I create illustrations with traditional mediums and in Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, and Procreate. And I'm engaged in conservation efforts in Madagascar through a trip with National Geographic and through raising funds for a conservation and research center in Madagascar by selling my original photographs.
I'm a freshman and a prospective art history major. I have a background in museum studies and community engagement. After being a volunteer and event coordinator intern at the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts for the past 4 years. I also have a lifetime experience of art making with a passion for illustration, sculpture, and textiles.
Our concept is an amalgamation of the built and natural landmarks that define the Williamsburg community that tie into the theme of how humanity engages with the land. Our main focus is to encourage education and engagement with the unique environment of Williamsburg. The main subject is a conceptual map of several landmarks, including the Wren Building, Governor's Palace, Lake Matoka, and the future developments at Midtown.
We chose to mesh the built environment of Williamsburg on top of the Virginia big-eared bat to literally depict how we are dependent on and supported by the land's biodiversity. Humans and nature are both equally important parts of this community, and their coexistence is integral to Williamsburg's identity. The Virginia big-eared bat is a species native to Virginia that is currently endangered. Featuring the species will raise viewer awareness on the direct and indirect ways humans have impacted the area and its animals. This bat is unusually enigmatic and can be stylized in a cute way to appeal to younger audiences if that is a concern had.
Our augmented reality experience will elevate the mural by making it dynamic and interactive. The bat's head will feature fur rustling in the wind, and the dogwood blossoms will float on an imaginary breeze around the bat. And catching these blossoms will present the user with fun facts about different bat species and their environmental niches.
Touching the landmarks will open a blurb inside the app about the history and natural significance of that particular landmark. At the bottom of the blurb, there will be a button titled Activate Exploration Trail, which when clicked will cause the dogwood flowers to swirl about, fall to the ground, and arrange into a trail, offering the prompt to open walking direction to the site highlighted. We feel that providing viewers the opportunity to spend time in nature and explore their community will help them feel more connected to the environment and therefore more motivated to protect it.
The forward-facing camera element is a roulette filter that will flip through conservation action options that they can do immediately and give them resources to do so. It will also encourage them to post in their Instagram story or on their profile using our hashtag, providing positive reinforcement to keep them participating.
To ensure the future viability of our conservation mural pitch, we are also proposing founding an on-campus volunteer organization that we've been referring to as the Bat Box Club. The club would facilitate 2 community events a year, one in the fall and the other in the spring, where visitors could be instructed by student volunteers on how to properly construct a bat box.
The club would also maintain a platform on Instagram, Facebook, and a website where we could share resources about bat conservation strategies and news. Also, since Anna and I are both illustrators, we would like to help fund the materials for this club by starting a Redbubble store. In addition to our own designs, we would like to open up the opportunity to submit original art to other students at William & Mary and local schools.
Ultimately, we want to convey to viewers that conservation actions do not have to be time-consuming, expensive, or huge. Small acts build on one another, whether it's reading an article or donating money. We want participants to feel that making change is achievable. One idea we have for marketing our design to the greater Williamsburg area is to incorporate it into tourism offers already presented by the Colonial Williamsburg Foundation. This mural and AR experience will also provide an exciting catalyst for locals to explore their community in a new light, which could be strengthened in collaboration with the Williamsburg Families Organization, which could help publicize our future Bat Box Club events.
In conclusion, our concept emphasizes the connection between people and the land over time by incorporating an enigmatic, likable subject and recognizable historical, modern, and natural landmarks in Williamsburg that encourage tourists and community members alike to engage with their surrounding environment in a sustainable way.
Thank you for your time, and we are happy to answer any and all questions.
Great. Good job, Back to the Future. So we'll take a couple questions from the judges, starting with you, Alan, if you have any.
Yeah, thanks for a really interesting presentation. I wonder if you could speak a little more about inclusiveness and how your project would reach different members of the Williamsburg community.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to include more features that will engage with senses other than sight, like perhaps making parts of the buildings and the natural landmarks and even like the bat's fur have a texture to it. And also what we want to show the wind rustling the bat's fur and blowing the dogwood blossoms, but we'd like to include sound effects for that as well. And when the user interacts with the mural, there'll be sound effects and perhaps vibrations that go along with that to reinforce what they're doing.
And in relation to inclusiveness of community members, the few people, as we depicted in our sketch, are silhouetted. We wanted to focus more on the things humans have created and the animals that are impacted by us more than an actual individual.
Okay, thanks.
Nina, you have a question.
This is absolutely beautiful. I really like the incorporation of the map, and I thought the perspective of the map and the landscape that you chose was really interesting. I wonder if you could speak a little bit more about what you imagined ways around the interactivity with the actual mural because of that perspective that you chose, of the perspective of the map and the landscape that you chose.
Absolutely. So we designed our mural concept considering the building sides that we were shown for Midtown. Because they are longer walls, we wanted to have it almost coming out at the viewer. So when the AR element is activated, it feels even more engaging because it's already reaching out at the viewer.
Great. And just a quick follow-up question. Bats are also pollinators as well. And I think there's an interesting opportunity here. I don't personally know enough about that specific bat, but is the dogwood pollinated by bats, or is there a specific interaction between bats and the dogwood?
So bats are pollinators, nocturnal pollinators. However, the bats of Virginia are all carnivorous and only feed on insects. So they're best for pest control rather than pollination.
Okay, thank you. Great job, you guys.
Thanks.
I think we have time for one more question. Aris, do you have a question?
No, I'll pass.
Camille or Guillermo?
Maybe just one quick comment too, because you said that you would like the wind blowing through the bats for something like that. If it's 3D, it's going to be really hard to accomplish that, but it can be made like a 2D animation or something like that. You will need to think about it because technically it's really hard to do some of these things. But we can make it look like it is through animation, especially if it is 2D, if it's illustrated. But on 3D is going to be really difficult, or maybe impossible for the platform of Spark AR in Instagram.
We are definitely open to any technological suggestions, as Sophie and I don't have much experience in AR, but we look forward to learning more about it.
And we were envisioning a 2D illustration because we want to stylize the bat. So hopefully that would be more achievable with the AR.
All right, yeah, with 2D will be better.
Awesome, great job, Bat to the Future. So our next team, Wings to the Worldwide Conservation. And Katie will be sharing her screen. She has power, good, okay.
All right. I hope that, oh, there we go. Sorry, the slides are not working. There we go. So we are Wings to Worldwide Conservation. I'm Katie, I'm a first year student. I'm self-designing a conservation major through the Institute of Integrative Conservation, and I have some experience with art.
Hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm a first year student as well. I'm looking at doing a double major in government and curatorial art history. I have some coding experience with 2D and I do have art experience.
Liz? Did we lose Liz? Okay. Oh no. Yeah, Liz, we can't hear you. Sorry, she's saying in the chat something's going on with her audio. I'm sorry. Let's see, did she? Yeah, okay, I don't know. I guess we're just gonna have to keep going. We're having issues with our third team member. So our third team member.
Keep going and I'll try to work with Liz to get her.
All right, so our third team member is Liz. She's a senior, she's a biology major with a psych minor, and she works in Dr. Swaddle's research lab. So she has conservation, graphic design, and art experience.
So for our mural idea, we're looking at using a butterfly motif to engage with the public. With the popularity of Instagram photos in front of Wings. So on the side, we have some examples of Taylor Swift standing in front of wings that blew up on social media a little while ago, and another example of a mural including wings in Orlando, Florida. So the flora and fauna will be featured predominantly over humans, as the humans will possibly be included in our AR experience. We want to include an QR code, which will go to a website that will give further resources and a way to watch the AR experience if they want to share the mural. We chose to focus on global biodiversity using a list of endangered species and connecting to the endangered species. So this is our mural design. We're looking at starting in the sea, moving through the land into the sky, going through different species, and having the butterfly being a main framework for our mural.
So we had a list of different flora and fauna in different environments. The list of species that we have on here includes different kinds of flowers and birds and pollinators, as well as well-known endangered species. We used the endangered species list to develop this outline. Obviously, that would include the addition or taking off of species as space allows, considering that we don't know the space as of yet that this is going to be on, and also wanted to consider including some local species such as bluebirds and bees.
Okay, hi, I'm Liz. I got it working. So we want the QR code to link to something like a link tree or a website that we design. We have an example of the Nature Conservancy's website in the corner. So we would design a website similar to that where it's easy to maneuver. There's links about education, and then there's also games for kids. I linked an example website that has great games and information that we can base ours off of. And we also want it to be accessible for everyone. So anywhere from young kids to older adults, or people that are visually impaired or impaired in other ways. We're going to have different textures and maybe include some parts like in the solar system that pop out a bit more and that are 3D, so that they're really interactive.
And the QR code would also theoretically allow people to access the website with information from photos that they've taken of the mural.
For the AR experience, we want to possibly have movement of our flora and fauna across the entire mural. We also have a video because we're thinking of a time lapse that would play over the mural to show conservation and whether it happens or not, and how integrative conservation would work from the human side.
Let's see if I can get it. There we go.
Where we would be able to show different events happening after due to conservation or due to not working to conserve our environment. In the mural below, we also want to have humans moving underneath, having in our mural humans and their actions, cultures, and how it affects how biodiversity and conservation would affect the human lives. The main focus would still be on the plants and animals, specifically globally, as we're looking at specific endangered species. It would have humans moving underneath.
So for the integrative conservation actions, we wanted to feature around the outline of the butterfly that has species involved, different human activities that are reliant on biodiversity and conservation. So things like fishing and medicine and agriculture that I think a lot of people sometimes, particularly with fishing and agriculture, associate those with being destructive to biodiversity, but they're also reliant on it. So including those activities and showing how biodiversity and human activities are interacting and relying on each other. And then we also figured that we could include information about that along with our other information on the website.
So the website will also have a conservation pledge. And in this section, there will be a reading list and educational resources grouped by age group so that everyone that visits the mural is able to find resources that allow them to educate themselves more. We'd also potentially be partnering with the Williamsburg Library, and they would help us construct this reading list. The Williamsburg Bird Club, VIMS, WilliamsburgFamilies.com. And then we also, since our mural is global biodiversity, we'd want to include global research as well as research from different parts of the United States. So we were thinking of conservation efforts and research like with the manatee and whale, as well as John's lab that we're currently working with Australian research groups. So then there will be this overall conservation pledge. This is an example design of an infographic. It will have information about biodiversity, what that means, how you can help plant more native species, and a commitment to reduce, reuse, recycle, and just reduce our overall footprint.
And we just had credit for the images that we included, such as the infographic.
Are there any questions?
Awesome, great job, Wings to the Worldwide Conservation. So we have time for a couple questions, starting with you, Nina, if you have any questions.
I don't have any questions at this time. Thanks.
Guillermo? Or Camille?
I can, yeah, sure. Let me I have just a very big question, and that one is, are you planning to develop all these things in the shortened time that you have for develop all the project? Because there are a lot of pieces. There is a website, there are games inside the website, there is the AR filter, there is infographics. How are you planning to develop all of that in that short amount of time?
Well, we have, all of us have experience with that sort of design. And then we were thinking of also engaging other William Mary students that are interested in graphic design or marketing, that would be interested in helping design the website.
And in terms of developing like a reading list or something we talked about, like working with the Williamsburg Regional Library to help get suggestions and develop that list from there.
Okay, well, I mean, it can turn out well, but I really want you to think about the times, because you're thinking in a lot of stuff, and I think that it could be difficult to manage all the graphic concepts that you want to be developed by third-party person, not your group but others. When you try to mix all of that, it will be a mess when you try to see it and you try to see all the different graphic styles that the persons have to implement on the project. If you're trying to make it faster by giving the work, by volunteering the work, you know. Besides that, I really like the interaction. It's really nice. The time lapse, I really do like it, but the only problem is that the platform doesn't let you upload videos, because the maximum weight of the filter is like 4 MB. Like with a lot of compression is 4 MB. So the average video is heavier than that. So it can be made by animations with the sprites, and we can't develop that, but it would be difficult, and we need to find a way to make it look as I think that you have in your mind, but still with the restrictions of the platform of Instagram, because that's the problem with these kind of platforms.
Yeah, we
well, yeah.
We weren't too sure how much AR experience is, like how much technology is able to do. We also had ideas of cutting it back and doing more like, yeah, more of a simple like outlines of trash and of then of conservation and everything as well, and not quite as complicated.
Okay, well, anyways, we can see that through the process. But thank you so much. It was a really nice proposal. My only question was that about the time. Thank you.
Thanks, Camille. Alan, do you have any questions?
Yeah, quick one. Thanks for a really interesting presentation. I like that there was a global dimension to your proposal, and I wonder if you could just say a little more about how you connect that global to the local to make folks in Williamsburg kind of care.
I think including some local species as well as species that are found globally is a good connection. And I think also being able to, in terms of with the human activities that we're portraying things that are also important to local people, things that are done locally or support local communities would be a good way to make people in the local area care.
Also, all of the global species that we included are pretty recognizable, and a lot of people have them as like a favorite. Like, I know a lot of Williamsburg citizens also go to Florida and everything, so manatees and preservation of those are really important.
Okay, great. Thanks for your answers.
All right, great job, Wings to Worldwide Conservation, and great job, all the teams. You did a fantastic job. These were very professional, very inspiring presentations, so good job. Before we send the judges off to deliberate, I'd like to ask all the judges to give a very brief reflection and broad feedback to all the teams on their proposals and on the intersection of art, technology, and conservation. Can I start with you, Guillermo?
Sure. It's really great. It's really great to see how all you have been working together to create all these pitches and all these ideas and to integrate these different topics using technology and actually learning how to use the technology to accomplish this. To don't make it just a mural, but to integrate also people and the community and to teach, especially the community, on what are the species that are on Williamsburg and are how to say, I forget how to say it in English, like endemic on Virginia and all the areas, and how you can use the technology to teach that and to preserve that, and how the importance of the conservation for all of us, even if we don't live there, is really great. I also really like that all you are also invested in using this technology and to learning how to use this as a medium of communication and to teach other people with this. And especially I want to be grateful with all of the Williamsburg and William and Mary community and all of you that are participating on this project, because it's really great to have the academia and have the students to participate in such a great project and something that is bigger than just a mural or just an AR or just cartoons on moving on your device, on your mobile screen. So I really like that.
Thank you, Guillermo. Camille?
Sure. Thank you, Erica. First of all, thanks to all. It was an honor to be participating here and also seeing all those amazing proposals that the students prepare for the presentation. As Guillermo said, I think that it's really interesting how the students approach it to a solution that it was not just a technology and just to show like the content in an entertainment way, but to make the users to think about it and to make the users to have questions, a generic question about the environmental crisis or environmental aspects of that each kind of them prepare for their proposals. Because at the end, the technology is a tool that it will be used as we want, but it's our like duty to give it a purpose to the technology, and also to create. I also kind of think that most of the projects I aim to create empathy with the environment and also the users and how we interact with the environment, and that's a really powerful concept.
Thank you, Camille. Alan?
Yeah, I was really impressed by the dynamism of all of these proposals and their interdisciplinarity. They really kind of speak well to the mission of this project, to kind of bring different knowledge domains together into a kind of seamless expression of conservation and connection with nature. I was particularly intrigued by some of the proposals taking into consideration non-human perspectives and sensory experience, because that really makes them very, very inclusive. I think there are some interesting questions to be raised about the relationship between Williamsburg and the larger world in every case, and how do we kind of not only connect to nature in general, but to the specific community here in Virginia. And so I look forward to talking about these projects with the other judges. It's been an honor to be included. Thank you all for great presentations.
Thank you. Eris?
Yes, thank you. Fantastic job. I was really impressed with, I think, the creativity and a lot of the thought that clearly went into each of these proposals. I was particularly impressed with not just leveraging technology, which is really cool, and the intersectionality, which has already been mentioned, but also the thought given to the built environment, and specifically the tactile elements that the presentations referenced through, interesting use of textures. I found that really intriguing, and I'm curious to see where that goes. In terms of, I'll give just two kind of pieces of advice. Just on presentation, one thing that I would definitely emphasize whenever you do something like this is to make sure you have like a really strong introduction and a conclusion in 1 to 3 sentences that really sums up what you're trying to pitch. And then this is a really small one, but I would put as a footnote always when you do this kind of thing, kind of your team name, especially there's only 4 teams today, but as you go along, and sometimes I've been a part of these things where there's multiple teams, 8 or 10, it's good to just have that reaffirmation of brand and group. But overall, super impressive, and I'm really excited to see where this goes. Thank you.
Thank you. And Nina?
Thank you again. One thing that stuck out for me in every single one of the presentations is how much risks you all took in putting some really unique ideas out there, and really did push the envelope. I mean, obviously putting technology and art overlaid to science and conservation is something where there's huge opportunities, and we definitely need to be pushing the envelope. This is all about the time of urgency, and I really appreciate that you all took those risks. So thank you for doing that. It really inspired me watching you. Another thing that stood out for me was that you all certainly highlighted beauty in art and nature, not only in the human perspective, but also in showing us nature, whether it be local or a global element of species or a landscape. And I think that's really important. I mean, beauty is really part of what drives people's connection. It helps drive our sense of wonder, and that's ultimately what's going to connect people and motivate people to take the actions that we're talking about. So I'd like to congratulate you all also in celebrating truly what is a beautiful planet, and sparking that curiosity in that, whether it be the ruffling of a bat's fur, or the falling of a flower, or the jumping of a whale. Certainly it's incredibly important, and I was really delighted to see that element all over. So again, thank you, and thank you for including me and giving me this sense of inspiration on a Friday.
Awesome, thank you, Nina, and thank you all for your help again with judging this competition. So we're going to send the judges off to deliberate in a separate Zoom meeting. And while we do that, while they're deliberating, I'm going to hand it over to the Executive Director of the IIC, Robert Rose, who's going to talk a little bit about how this project fits into our broader goals. And then he'll hand it over to Guillermo, who's going to walk us through the development of augmented reality experience in the fall.
Thanks everyone for coming. And before I say anything, I wanted to maybe give another round of applause to these incredible students. I'm just blown away when I see these presentations, and I think Enrique is here. When we first started talking about this project, I think we're sort of pie in the sky thinking, boy, we'd be thrilled if we had any team submit a project idea, much less find a wall that we may potentially be able to run this on. And here we have an opportunity to actually paint this mural, whatever the mural ends up being, with any one of these, which are 4 incredible projects. So thanks to all the students for all of the effort that they put into putting these wonderful projects together. We really appreciate your effort and your willingness to participate in this kind of unique and outside the box event. Thank you. I noticed we have a few people here I wanted to introduce. One just wrote something in the chat. Mara DeSenta is, we're thrilled to be welcoming Mara as a new member of the IIC team this fall. Mara will be joining us as a professor of environmental justice. This is a joint position between the IIC and the Department of Anthropology here on campus. Mara does incredible work in South America, in Patagonia, looking at the introduction of beavers and the conservation impact of this introduction of beavers, working with conservation organizations and local communities. We're thrilled to have her joining the team and thrilled that she was able to join us today. So thanks for coming, Mara. I also wanted to introduce Enrique. Enrique is the CEO of Augmented Island Studios, and I thought maybe he would say a few words maybe about our first discussions and the way this project sort of got launched.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think Enrique have to leave because he had another meeting.
Okay, so we'll skip that. Unfortunately, Enrique has to go, so we won't get to hear from him today. But I'll say a few words about this project. Of course, we have Erica put together a great script, so I was supposed to have this. I can't find it at the moment. Too many tabs open late in the day. Anyway, so the IIC, which launched in January 2020, has a mission of creating an inclusive community of creative leaders to deliver innovative solutions to the world's most pressing conservation challenges. And innovative solutions is really key to what we're trying to take on here. People have been working on conservation issues for years, and not quite everything is working. We're still facing significant conservation challenges, so we have to find new ways of dealing with some of these global issues and turn the tide of environmental degradation. So as part of our goal in the IIC is to think about new approaches, new ways of impacting the conservation challenges that we face, new ideas to bring light to some of these challenges, and really new ways to connect people, and by people we mean all people, not just those here on campus or those working directly with conservation, connect people to nature and to these important conservation issues. Because we do believe that if we better connect people to nature, more people are connected to nature, we'll have a better outcome, a long-term outcome around our planet. And so this idea really came up. We met Enrique. Enrique is an alum of William & Mary Business School. We were put in touch with him through another faculty member here and really just had a wonderful conversation with Enrique. It's hard to deny his enthusiasm for all things, much less conservation. And he shared with us the mural project that they participated in Columbus, Ohio, this incredible mural project. And I encourage you, you could look this up online. If you look at Augmented Reality mural in Columbus, you'll see the video of these incredible projects. And when we saw this at our first discussion, we kind of thought, wow, wouldn't it be interesting if we could try something like that here? It would be a fantastic way to include, actually, Erica, why don't you go to the next slide? If I remember these correctly, include a diverse group of people on campus by reaching into new departments like the art department, like the computer science department, and engage some of their students and faculty on a conservation project. It was potentially a great opportunity to connect some of what we're doing on campus with the broader community by placing a mural somewhere out there. We were thrilled to get to meet Aris and find out that he was willing to potentially work with us on the mural project and identifying a location. And once we had this idea hatched, we kind of set it in motion. And fortunately, we have a great program manager and team here. Her, along with Jasmine, were really instrumental in kind of pulling everything together. We kind of hatched an idea, and Erica and Jasmine are credited with really pulling together what you see today. So we're thrilled about this opportunity and think it is really a critical step in our goals of not only thinking about new and innovative ways to engage conservation issues, but by bringing a broader community into the connection with nature that we all see. Next slide, please. So let me see, give me 1 second. Maybe while I'm going through some of my notes, Guillermo, you're here, so do you want to talk about a little bit more about the mural project in either in Columbus or the opportunity that you see having here with William and Mary in the IIC?
Yeah, sure. Do you want to do the technical talk or how we work for this project and how we can work with the winning team also?
Yes, that'd be
Okay.
great. We have until,
Yeah, sure.
we have probably 3 minutes.
Oh.
So it'd be great for just a quick demo.
3 minutes. Okay. I'm going to run.
Sorry.
Yeah, let me just share my screen really quick. Is ready there?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, so you guys already saw the video that Erica showed, and for some of you guys that couldn't be on the first meeting that we had, I'm going to show you a little behind the scenes of what we work on for the project of in Ohio. So one thing that we do is that we created the concept that is like the ones that you show in the pitch. That is the first iteration of how the mural is going to look like. So that changed for this, so that's how it changed for the artist. But the thing that we need to do is to have all these parts of the mural to be processed in the computer to be able to have these little marks that are the AR marks or the tracking marks. That is what the device, what the cell phone is going to follow when you move around the mural, that is going to detect the image and to place the content on top of it, the AR and the virtual content on top of it. So this is some of the 3D parts in the mural. I'm going to show you how we made it a little bit. This software is called 3D Studio Max, and here's the animation for the hummingbird. So you can see that the hummingbird has some pieces here that act like the bones for the creature, and this is what enabled us to animate it, to make it fly and to move it around the 3D world. So this is an scale part of the mural, so we can put it back there on scale for the real mural. And we actually we did a mix of 3D and 2D content for this mural, because of these characters were very difficult to make in time in 3D because they take a lot of parts. You can see for the hummingbird, just we have to create all the model, the texturing for the feathers and the bones to animate it, and the animation takes a lot of time. So for a character will be take a lot more time, especially a humanoid character. So we made it on 2D. We actually create a little a scale model on cardboard, because of course we couldn't be flying to Columbus every time to test it. So we have to test it and just make some prayers that it will work on the on the 11th store building. But it was really fine. As you can see, the character is a 2D illustration, but has some animation and has some like a cloth simulation to make it blow with the wind like it was real cloth. We have to iterate this too with the artist, how to make the cloth for the woman look appealing and to look better when the wind blows. And this is just pictures of me on Columbus with the artist. He's Eris Codness. We will be working too on this mural. And the technology that we're using, that we also use for a conservation international application that, well, you guys saw on the first meeting, is called Spark AR. This is the software. This is a proprietary software from Facebook. The Facebook owns Instagram, so we can create the filters for Facebook and Instagram. So we don't only have to create face filters, that is the common thought for Spark, but we can also use the mural to create AR. And this is how it works. The programming for it, for all of you that are involved in programming, is a node-based language that we can use to have especially conditions. So we use a lot of conditions to make it work. And we can also have all these nodes. These nodes are programmed in JavaScript. So we can also create a special coding for it if it's necessary, but mostly the software has it all that we will need. It's mostly for special things that we need to create, so make it more customized. But especially is this. It's not really hard. Looks like a web, a spider web, and sometimes it's confusing, but it's really easy to use. So this will be the main software that we will be using, and it's very easy to implement and to create things, although it's very limited because it has some limitations to make it work inside of Instagram. So the file size can be more than 4 megabytes. So when you think that the whole filter has to be less than 4 megabytes, it's really hard to optimize it, because you can think just an image that weighs 4 megabytes. Any picture that you take with your cell phone might be weighing like 10 or 12 megabytes. So it's really hard to make it so optimal that is running for Instagram. But that's why we're going to help you guys with all of this.
Guillermo, thank you so much. This is really cool to see. And I just really want to thank you and Camille and Enrique and the whole Augmented Island Studios team for your generosity, your expertise, and it's going to be an amazing experience for the students to get to work with you all. So thank you. All right, so our judges are back with a winner. So I'm going to hand it over to one of the judges who's going to give the students feedback and then announce the winner.
Hi, I'm unable to restart my video, I'm afraid. This is Alan. So now I can. Yeah, great. Thanks, Erica. Well, this was a really fascinating conversation and experience for all of the judges. We were all impressed by all of the presentations. It was pretty close in our deliberations about all of the proposals. But there was a clear winner and a consensus in favor of the pollinator protectors, whose proposal touched a number of issues and checked a number of boxes that I think everyone admired, including their attention to pollinators and non-human perspectives, and native species situated in Virginia, as well as paying attention to indigenous communities and their perspectives. They really stood out in that regard, as well as considering accessibility through the use of sound and engaging colors and an engaging interaction between the mural and the VR or the AR design. So the other proposals were really fantastic in a lot of ways. Each one was unique. Each one had tremendous benefits and distinctive features that we admired, but I think that the pollinator protectors stood out for our group of judges for the reasons that I've just articulated. So congratulations to them. And I believe that the project will make it possible for other participants, other proposers to still be involved in some way as the project moves forward. So those are our thoughts.
Thank you so much, Alan, and thank you, judges, and congratulations, pollinator protectors. And I'd like to congratulate all the students, all the teams. You did a fantastic job of presenting. Let's give everybody a round of applause. All of your concepts were very inspirational and your presentations were very professional. So you did a fantastic job. And as we said at the beginning, all of you will be invited to participate in some way. We will be taking the concept that the pollinator protectors have proposed here. You'll be working with the team of interdisciplinary mentors and judges who are here today to translate that concept into a proposal to the Public Art Council, and then we'll implement it in the fall. So congratulations to the pollinator protectors and to all the students. And I want to end by thanking our judges for their time and expertise. And I would like to thank all of our partners and all of the mentors who joined us for your support for this project. And then I'd like to end by thanking all the students again. You really are an inspiration, and it's fantastic to see how you're integrating art, technology, and conservation. And so we'll be in touch, and thank you all for joining us today. Attendees, we'll be in touch with next steps on how you can get involved in this process as well. So thank you all, and thank you for joining us. We'll see you again soon.